So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this fully reversible 4-way top. So you can either wear it this side with the higher neck, or you can turn it around and it's more of a scoop neck. So I have made this pattern available, so I'll link that down below. I have also made the pattern available for the matching shorts, and there is also a tutorial for that, so I will link those down below as well. I've tried to make it as beginner friendly as possible, so it should be fairly easy to follow, and I think that's everything. So let's get on with the tutorial. So to make this project you will need 2 different styles of fabric, either different patterns or different colours. This should be a 4-way stretch fabric. I normally use 95% cotton or polyester with 5% elastane, but most stretch jerseys should work. You want to make sure you pre-wash any fabric to allow for shrinkage as well. And then you will need either an overlocker or a regular sewing machine with zigzag stitch. You will need some pins, something to cut out your pattern pieces, I'm using fabric scissors, something to draw out your pattern pieces, I'm using fabric pens, and then this is optional, but I am using some flat braided elastic, which is about 5 to 6 millimeters wide. So now I'm just going to start laying my fabric out ready to cut the pattern pieces. And just to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to say that this is fabric A and this is fabric B. So I'm going to start with fabric A, and I'm going to lay that down with the right side facing up. Just make sure that you get that as smooth and crease free as possible. And then I'm going to take fabric B and I'm going to lay that with the right side facing towards the right side of fabric A. So now I'm going to take my pattern pieces. If you're using my pattern, you will have 2 pieces. This might be a little bit tricky to see because obviously it's on tracing paper. You will have one with a higher neckline, and then you'll have one with more of like a lower scoop. And you're just going to place these onto your fabric and just draw around and cut one of each pattern. So then once you've got your 2 pieces drawn out, I'm going to go in with some pins and just pin within the lines so that when we cut them out, it's going to be a lot easier to keep both layers of fabric together. So now I'm going to go in and cut my pieces out. Just make sure you take your time with this because it can be tricky to cut accurate shapes on stretchy fabric. So now you should have 2 pieces that look something like this, and we're going to go in and sew around the armholes, around the neckline and along the bottom of the top for both pieces. Just around here and around the bottom, you want to leave this open at the top of the strap. So just come up this side, take your machine off, and then come down this side, and you're also going to be leaving the sides open. So then once you have sewn around these edges, I'm going to go in with my flat braided elastic. Like I said, this is optional, but I would recommend it if you want a little bit more support and structure. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to go right over the top of the armholes, the neckline and the armhole on the other side. So the only one that you're not going over is the bottom of the top. I have tried this a few times since and actually tried putting the braided elastic along that bottom edge, and I find that they fit a little bit better. So ignore what I said there and put the elastic over all 4 of those seams. So the 2 armholes around the neckline and then along the bottom edge of the top. And I'm actually going to attach my elastic to the red gingham side just because this is the side that I am going to wear the most. So now that you've added the elastic around your armholes and your necklines on both pieces, I'm going to take the side with the scoop neck and I'm going to turn it to the right side out. And then I'm going to start to thread this into the piece with the higher neck, just making sure that the right fabric is facing the right fabric. So I've got red gingham facing red gingham here. So just start to match up the edges. And then take your straps. And again, make sure they're not twisted or anything and that they're facing the right fabric. And thread that through. And again with this side. And now I'm just going to go in and pin this in place. So at this point you should be pinning through 4 different layers of fabric. And now I'm just going to go in and sew down the sides of the top and up at the top of the straps. Your goal here is to make sure that everything is completely enclosed and there are no holes. So once you have sewn down all the rest of your seams, all that's left to do is to turn your top to the right side out. So I'm just going to seam rip a small hole in the armpit on this side. So once you've made a small hole, you can just start to gently push through the rest of your top. So now all that's left to do is to close up your seam, but before you do that, I just like to go in and check all of my seams to make sure that you've got all 4 layers of fabric when you are sewing. It's very easy to miss little sections, but that looks absolutely fine. I'm just going to go in and hand sew this with a ladder stitch. So I'm just going in one side and then over to the other. So this is just a simple ladder stitch. If you aren't sure how to do this, you can look it up on YouTube and there are loads of really helpful videos to help you show how to do this. It's just one of the best stitches if you want more of like an invisible stitch. So I'm just going to go along this hole and then I'm going to come back and tie it off here. So then once you have sealed up this hole, you are done. And you've got your 4-way top.